afternoon's press conference with the Minister for the Cabinet Office, the Honorable Furbert, and the Minister of Labor, the Honorable Jason Hayward. I now welcome Minister Furbert to begin his remarks. Minister?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm joined by the Minister of Labor, the Honorable Jason Hayward, JPMP, to discuss Bermuda's field jobs and workforce. Today, I will highlight the Bermuda Market Employment Briefs report from the Department of Statistics, and Minister Hayward will speak to the continuing effort of his ministry to support, train, and guide our workforce. The latest edition of the Bermuda Job Market Employment Briefs examines employment changes from 2019 and 2020. This particular report provides a snapshot of employment in Bermuda during the week of August the 30th to September the 5th, 2020. Just some general background. The annual employment survey is a census of all businesses on the island. It serves the purpose of providing a broad count of all field jobs in the Bermuda labor markets. Users are cautioned against making direct comparison with the labor force survey and census results because the results are not comparable. The age of job holders is not limited to persons 16 years and older, as in the case for the working population in the labor force survey and census report. In addition, the employment counts presented in this publication presented all field jobs. In contrast, the labor force survey and census provide the number of people working in their main job, irrespective of the number of jobs held. As I indicated, data collected for this report was from a week in late August to early September. As we know, last year was a particularly difficult where many businesses, employers, and employees were affected by the challenges in our economy and labor market due to the pandemic. So it's important to understand and appreciate the contents and background as we review and assess these statistics. The overall level of employment was impacted by economic contractions caused by the pandemic. The 2020 employment total includes 730 jobs whose holders were made redundant during the reference week. While the main findings of this report focus on employment changes between 2019 and 2020, report also shows employment changes between 2016 and 2019. Prior to the pandemic, Bermuda was experiencing encouraging job growth, with employment on an upward trajectory from 33,481 filled jobs in 2016 to 34,378 jobs in 2019, an increase of nearly 900 jobs. The industrial groups that fueled the job growth during this period were the accommodation and food service activities sector, with an increase of 562 jobs. The construction and quarrying sector was 261 jobs, and public administration with 212 more jobs of the 4-year pre-pandemic period. As it stands, key highlights between 2019 and 2020 are as follows. Total jobs filled declined by 1,951 jobs, or 5.7%, from 34,378 jobs in 2019 to 32,427 in 2020. Males and females registered 1,076 and 875 fewer field jobs, respectively, while Bermudans and other non-Bermudans recorded job losses of 1,091 and 666, respectively. Field jobs within accommodation and food service industry contracted 23.4%, down 1,100 to 3,591. Field jobs among service workers and shop and market sales workers declined by 15.9%, from 7,427 jobs to 6,244. Lastly, I wish to emphasize that this government remains committed to investing in our people, encouraging small business development and growing our economy. Despite the challenges that we face, in closing, I want to thank all the businesses that completed the annual employment surveys. More in-depth cross-tabulations on Bermuda's job markets are published in the 2020 Employment Survey Tabulation Set. The 2021 employment briefs and the tabulation sets are available on the Bermuda government's website at gov.bm, employment-statistics. Thank you, and now I'll turn it over to Minister Jason Hayward.
Thank you, Minister Furbert, and good day to members of the media and the general public. It is no secret that the COVID-19 pandemic has had a severe impact on economies worldwide, and Bermuda is no exception. Our current economic downturn has disproportionately impacted young workers and service workers. Despite these challenges, the Bermuda government remains steadfast in our commitment to supporting Bermudians workers. We will continue to implement strategies and effective policy solutions that will address the challenges many Bermudians face as a result of the pandemic. The Ministry of Labor continues to provide social protections through the Department of Financial Assistance and the Supplemental Unemployment Benefit Program, designed for persons who have been displaced from the workforce due to the pandemic. The Financial Assistance Program provides funding for basic necessities such as housing, food, and health care. In comparison, the Supplemental Unemployment Benefit is an income replacement of $1,520 plus health insurance for persons who do not qualify for financial assistance but require financial support. Individuals can access the Supplementary Unemployment Benefit application on the government portal or collect from the Department of Financial Assistance located on the first floor of Global House, 43 Church Street, Hamilton. In response to the economic crisis, the Ministry of Labor unveiled the National Reemployment Strategy in September 2020, designed to get Bermudians across multiple job sectors back to work. The overarching objectives of this strategy are threefold: to reduce current unemployment, prevent future unemployment, and facilitate the ease of finding employment. In order to meet these objectives, the strategy focuses on enhancing the supply of labor and building a more robust workforce through information, training, and education. Today, I am pleased to provide an update on the work executed thus far by the Department of Workforce Development in supporting Bermudians in their endeavors to secure employment. As of the 30th of September, exactly 12 months since the launch of Phase 1, over 750 persons have participated in various face-to-face, online, on-the-job, virtual learning, webinars, internships, apprenticeships, and trainee programs. Approximately 80 individuals have received part-time or full-time employment due to these training initiatives. The number of unemployed Bermudians receiving employment opportunities through the Department of Workforce Development's job board referral process continues to grow, and the number is now 757 persons. Since the implementation of Phase 2, we have been working towards maintaining the initiatives launched in Phase 1 while also increasing the number of employed Bermudians. The strategy of training, reskilling, and utilizing the transferable skills of unemployed Bermudians has remained our core focus. It will better equip the pool of unemployed persons to take advantage of opportunities in specific, restricted, and closed categories in the job market. These industry-driven initiatives will continue to focus on connecting training with employment opportunities in high-demand occupations required now and into the future. We all owe our thanks to the team at the Department of Workforce Development who continue to implement the following initiatives: Economic Stimulus Program Jobs Initiative, industry-driven network partnerships, training and development programs, employer and industry engagement, and youth development and employment initiatives. I can report that through our ongoing appeals to those who are unemployed, the number of Bermudians registered on the Bermuda Job Board has increased. As of September 30th, the number stood at 444, an increase of over 174 since the last update in June 2021. The department will continue to follow a three-step process with all persons registered, which includes complete assessments, referring suitable candidates to employers for potential employment opportunities, and providing the support needed, such as resume development, interview skills, and coaching to assist candidates in achieving their employment goals. Please note that the Ministry's Department of Immigration will be extending the occupational categories that are included under the current list of closed category jobs per section 3.6 of the current published policy for an additional 3 months through to the 31st of January 2022, with the exception of residential and commercial cleaners, which will be moved from the closed list and placed on the restricted list. The partner of a Bermudian permanent resident certificate holder, non-Bermudian on a work permit, or the legal residents of Bermuda will generally be allowed to reside in Bermuda but not seek employment until further advised by the Ministry of Labor. Through our National Economic Recovery Plan, the government will take decisive action to restore consumer and business confidence and stimulate our economy, creating a clear path to growth and employment. A robust economy with an increase in jobs is a vital component to getting Bermudians back to work. To that end, the ministry will continue working towards implementing its policy objectives in alignment with the National Economic Recovery Plan. Thank you. At this time, I'll take questions from the media.
Thank you, Minister Hayward and Minister Furbert. I will now turn over the questions to the media, starting first with Gary Foster Skelton. Just give Gary a minute to log on and become visible and connected.
Good afternoon. Let me just make sure I'm visible. There we are.
Yep. All right, Gary, you're live and you can begin.
Thank you very much. So thank you, ministers, for that information. May I ask, referring to the moratorium, it's nearly a year now that you've had an expanded moratorium on certain jobs, closing them to anyone who is not Bermudian. How has that worked out specifically in those job categories that have been restricted? What share of employment do Bermudians claim compared to the 2 or 3 years previous?
And so we wouldn't be able to have that data until we do the next employment survey. So the 2021 employment survey will actually show the specific progress that is being made in each of those job categories. However, I would say that I did mention that the referral process has allowed us to place more than 700 individuals. We can see a direct correlation between our ability to place individuals and those closed job categories.
Okay, thank you, Minister. Minister Hayward, you reported that 750 persons have participated in training and career development throughout the current program, and 80 have received part or full-time employment as a direct result of their training. Can you be more specific about who has received full-time employment and those whose part-time employment is more than 20 hours a week?
So part-time employment will be more than 15 hours per week. But what I can endeavor to do is give you a further breakdown as to how those 80 individuals are dispatched across multiple job categories and whether or not they are full-time and part-time.
Okay. You say you will be able to give us more of a breakdown?
Certainly, I will be able to provide you with more details in terms of those numbers.
In the close future.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Well, Minister Hayward, in June you said a pilot group of 20 financial assistant clients had completed personal employment plans such as financial and computer literacy training, career coaching. Have more people on financial assistance taken this training, and has it led to employment? Anyone being able to leave financial assistance?
And so that's a good question. You would know that the legislation was just recently debated and passed by both houses. So we haven't begun the program in earnest. Once the bill comes into effect, it will make it mandatory for the majority of the financial assistance clients. What I would say is that the pilot was there to enable us to test the integrity of the program prior to the legislative changes. So certainly we will have further updates on the progress made as it pertains to personal employment plans.
Are you able to clarify the rationale behind changing the category for the residential and for the residential cleaners?
Despite us recognizing that that is an area that can absorb many Bermudians who are currently unemployed, what we find is even though we have been placing individuals in that particular occupational category, there is a general shortage. And as a result of having direct dialogue with industry, we are satisfied that they have made an effort in terms of hiring Bermudians, training Bermudians in some aspect, but still have a genuine shortage of labor in that particular area. You would know that that is an area where a level of discrimination also exists. So some individuals do not wish to have Bermudians in their establishment cleaning. It's a problem that we have in that particular industry, but the reality is it creates a shortage when we talk about the supply of labor.
That's bringing up a very nuanced issue there of essentially some prejudice and even racism. So, how does the Ministry of Labour progress to deal with things like that happening?
The problem is really on the demand side and not the supply side. And so we can't force a homeowner to accept a service from somebody that they don't want to provide that service to them. But what we're generally doing is raising the standard across the board within the industry so that persons are comfortable with Bermudians in their households in particular, doing cleaning and providing services. The other thing is that a genuine paradigm shift needs to take place because Bermuda of yesterday is not Bermuda of today. And so mindsets certainly need to change. If not, you will find that the ministry will be forced to place further restrictions in certain areas to facilities.
All right, Gary, I'm going to give you one more question.
Oh, thank you very much, Michael. I just wanted to speak to bringing up some of the figures that Minister Furbert was mentioning, and the difficulty that we're having with getting anybody employed in some ways, and specifically Bermudians after the pandemic. One of the main things that people will want to know about these training opportunities for unemployed Bermudians, upskilling for workers and closing categories, is simply how many Bermudians are now in full-time employment as a direct result of these efforts. Bermudians who were not employed before these programs began. Is there a chance we're going to get some testimonials from some of these Bermudians that are finding their way through the programs you are doing?
That is certainly something we can work on, putting a human face behind the numbers. And so through the DWD referrals, I did state that 757 persons have fund employment, and then a further 80 other training and development programs. And so while there is genuine contraction across all industrial categories within our workforce, we certainly see where we are able to at least penetrate some of those occupational categories and find some successful meetings.
All right.
Thank you, ministers.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, we'll now be bringing on Sarah Lagan. Let's wait for her to connect. All right.
Thank you, ministers.
Thank you, Gary. Sarah, if you can please mute your other video source.
Yep, have done. Thank you.
All right, you're live and you can begin your questions.
Thank you, Minister. Could you give any indication of how jobs have fared this year, and whether you think the job loss trend from 2019 and 2020 has continued? And if so, could you explain why?
You want me to speak first, Minister? Sarah, as you heard, that roughly it was about 1,900 jobs that was lost during the testing period between August and September. Over 1,000 of those particular jobs was in accommodation and food service, and I don't believe any of us are surprised at that. So based on the work that the government has been doing, and now you see more hotels have opened up and restaurants have opened up, there is no doubt that there is more people working now than as of that period that we actually did the testing. We're doing some other surveys right now within the ministry or the Department of Statistics, and hopefully we can get some information to see what the trend has taken place. But just that alone between the accommodation and food services, those are drop off. Like I said, I don't believe most people are surprised at that because of the situation we were in 2020.
Okay, thank you. Another question would be, do you expect the economic stimulus plan to kick in? When would you expect the economic stimulus plan to kick in, and how soon do you think it'll be before it has a meaningful impact?
I guess you're talking to me directly. The economic stimulus plan is ongoing. We've had some increases within, you see we're doing now roadside clearing and stuff like that. There are some work that needs some planning type approval, and I'm pushing the ministry to make those things happen, which would mean more construction jobs and other things taking place. So hopefully very soon we can get some more activity within that economic stimulus package. Okay.
I had a few questions. I hope you wouldn't mind me asking.
As long as it is an employment survey.
With regards to the legal challenge by mailboxes, actually.
As long as we'll answer, as long as it's an employment survey.
I'm sorry?
As long as it's an employment survey, we'll deal with it.
Are you saying you won't answer any questions unless it's about the employment survey?
Yeah, that's the press conference today, yeah.
I mean, usually we're able to ask, when we got the chance to speak to ministers, we're able to ask questions outside, usually with other ministers, certainly.
Sarah, if I can suggest, if you direct an email, my email address, you can send it to me, and I will endeavor to get responses to you. But as the minister has stated, let's stick to the topic at hand for today. Thank you.
Hi. Sorry, I've lost the minister now.
Lost me?
Yeah. Okay, I can see you now. You just disappeared there. So you were saying that it would be very soon before the economic stimulus plan kicks in. Can you be any more specific on that?
No, some things itself with regards to the planning process. I'm pushing the team as hard as possible to get some things in shape. There are some things we are working on. I can give a better update hopefully in the next week or so when we get the information. I didn't come prepared for that type of question today.
Okay, all right. Thanks very much, Minister.
Okay.
All right, sir. Do you have any further questions?
That's it. Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you for attending. Minister Furbert, Minister Hayward, do you have any closing remarks?
I mean, I'll basically just say that particularly the Minister of Labor is working very hard to make things happen. The government overall, based on the economic stimulus, also the other programs that we're working on, I'm sure that over the next, at least within 6 months or 12 months, we're going to see some significant job increases. There are challenges, but overall, I think we're getting there. I think if I was to take a survey right now, it's clearly that the numbers would be much higher than they were as of August and September last year. And as we had said, that we saw a significant increase from 2016. We saw a particular increase in the job market as far as people employed, but all of a sudden 2020 hit us, which is not expecting that we saw a fall. In the time when we actually took the test, the survey between the employment. And if we took a survey right now, I think the numbers will be higher. Matter of fact, I believe they would, particularly in the accommodation and the service industry. But we are working around the clock to make some things happen. Minister Hayward.
Just to add, it's no doubt that the healthcare crisis has translated into economic challenges for the country, but the government remains committed to providing social protections and also employment and workforce services to get our people back to work. I think in the coming months, you will hear more regarding our National Economic Recovery Plan. And as we execute those items within the Economic Recovery Plan, we will see those initiatives benefit the people of Bermuda. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Minister Hayward and Minister Furbert. And I want to thank the members of the public for joining us, as well as the media, of course. Media, as you know, you have my email address. If you have any further questions, do not hesitate to direct them to me, and I will do my best to provide some responses. Everyone, have a great afternoon. God bless you. Goodbye.